Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Lisa from PosterMyWall, and this is Learn with PosterMyWall. Today is free class Instagram marketing for small business. And that's for anybody who is ready to get more out of Instagram. And to help us do that, we have invited our special guest, Natalie Ariz, and she's going to talk about how she grew her site at The Impeccable Find to over 18,000 followers. But first, let us know who's here, where you're from, and what you'd like to learn during today's class. I'm here in Atlanta. Audrey is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and Natalie is based in Houston, Texas. Today's class is for Instagram beginners and for people who want to evaluate their current approach to Instagram and see if there is anything they can do to achieve better results. So Instagram, right? There's posts, there's stories, there's reels, there's hashtags. How many followers do you need? How do you decide what to post where? What's the best way to pull it all together? I know it blows my mind sometimes. So Natalie is going to answer all of that and more. Our goal is for you to leave today with one or more ideas for how you can get more out of your Instagram feed right away. And today we're going to try something new. We're going to do the class as a Q&A. So if you have any questions for Natalie, you can put them in the chat, and Audrey we'll share them and we'll ask Natalie to answer. We will answer as much as we can until 1 o'clock Eastern. And then what we'll do is, if you have other questions we didn't get to, Natalie and the PosterMyWall team are going to go back to the chat after the class, and we'll answer anything that we didn't get a chance to do live. And if you stay until the end, we do have some bonus content, and Natalie has put together a list of some of her favorite small business Instagram accounts that are doing it right, that you can click and see what they're doing and learn from them across a bunch of different industries. And also she's got a checklist for your Instagram stories to make sure that you are, again, making your stories as effective as possible. Again, please do put your questions in the comments for us. The video is going to stay here on the Facebook page, so you can come back and watch whenever you like. And please do share this with anybody you think would benefit from Natalie's expertise. Audrey, do we have any shout outs or questions before we get started?
We actually have quite a few people joining us from all over. We have Jorge, we have Ataris from Alabama, Katrina from New Mexico. We have Onome from Nigeria. Gosh, we have Michigan. We have another one from Norway. So I think they are all excited to learn how to make use of Instagram.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. We'll reshare it in a little while later when we have some examples to show. And let's get started. Welcome, Natalie. So tell us a little bit about The Impeccable Find and at Shop The Impeccable Find.
Hi there. Good morning. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. I have two platforms. One is called The Impeccable Find, which I started about in 2016, and that's grown to about 18,000 followers. I started it as more of a therapy of after I had had a heart attack. I was in a totally different industry, which was credit and accounting. Did that for 20 years. And during this evolution of my heart attack, I went to Instagram to just start taking pictures and just appreciate the world around us. With that, it eventually grew into something more, which is more in the influencer marketing platform or realm. And see, here you can see an example of The Impeccable Find, where I do a lot of fashion finds. I'm partnered with Like to Know It, with other corporations, small businesses, and big box corporations. Then on Shop The Impeccable Find, I started during COVID. It's something I've always wanted to do. I'm only at 1,300 followers there, but I, again, just started less than a year ago. And what I do there is curated finds of antiques and vintage items, and have actually opened up a storefront or a booth inside an antique mall, which has been something I've wanted to do forever.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's start with goals. Everyone wants more followers, but how important is that really?
Honestly, everybody gets really caught up in the numbers. If anything, the first thing people look at is, oh, let me see your page. You have so many followers, or that is just always the first go-to. But honestly, you want it to be in conversion, meaning quality over quantity. You're there to cultivate a community that will eventually, convert into sales. So I really try to push people from thinking that followers is the only way to go.
So you're saying that maybe a restaurant that only had, 100, 200 followers, but 100 of them were really engaged and they were regulars and they participated and they came in, then they're better off than somebody who had a lot of followers that don't really care.
Absolutely, because why would you want to pursue followers that are never going to visit you or are doing their own purpose of following you so you can follow them back? So it's definitely quality over quantity any day of the week.
All right. And so how do you decide what is a good number of followers for your particular business?
I think the great rule of thumb is, say, for example, if you have 1,000 followers, you want to follow 500 or less. So basically the 50-50 ratio, meaning, 10,000 followers, you only want to follow up to 5,000.
Okay. That makes sense. And you had shared examples of a couple of different businesses and how very different their approaches to Instagram are.
Yes, I see you have two accounts that I love. Both happen to be in Houston. Megan Hotze does a great job with PR and has helped many brands elevate to the next level. And this one, Young, Wild, and Freeman, which is on the right, she has done an exceptional job. She created her business, sensory kits, Play-Doh. She's known as the Play-Doh lady. And she does a great job of being a business, but also being an influencer. She humanizes her brand by putting herself out there, showing the growth. So from just say, I'm obviously not into Play-Doh. My kids are outgrown Play-Doh, but yet I still follow her because I like her style. I like her energy, and I love her entrepreneurial spirit. So she's showing you a lot of behind the scenes, which to me is very engaging. And there's a lot to be learned from her.
Okay, so it sounds like both of these accounts have somewhat different approaches. So should we take away from that there's no absolute right way to do Instagram that works for everybody?
I think the best advice I've ever been given is to be organic and to be true to yourself, because that's really the only thing you can keep up for a long period of time. So whatever is true to you, true to your industry, do that. I mean, you can use all these accounts as inspiration. Definitely no copycatting, but we are inspired by everything that's around us. So yes, do it your way and be consistent is the most important part.
All right. And a lot of people, wonder how often do they need to post on Instagram?
Well, and again, this goes back to like the follower count. Everybody's so fixed on numbers and things like that. I think you just need to ask yourself, why am I interrupting that person's feed? Is it important? Who cares? I guess a lot of times when you're posting something, just ask yourself, is it on brand? Is it representing my company in the best way? Does it have a purpose? Is it educational? Is it engaging? If it's not, and you're just out there to post, and I'm not a big fan of an editorial calendar. Reason being is I like my page, but again, this is speaking from my brand, is that I like it to be organic. So it's more off the cuff, and I feel that you feel that versus it being so, regimented in this editorial calendar that feels kind of, lack of a better word, fake.
Natalie, we actually have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I was first, you had mentioned, no copycatting. Obviously, you want your content to be considered original. So if you're using others as inspo, would you then just credit maybe the other user that you had received the inspo from, or how would you go about saying, this is my stuff, but I got inspo from someone else?
Well, and I love, there's a lot of accounts that I follow that actually, M&M Lighting does a great job. She is probably most etiquetely appropriate when it comes to everything. If you're looking for guidance, she credits the photographer, she credits the interior designer, she credits the product. And it's so important to actually tag them in the photo and also do the credits and the caption. That way you're making sure that you are definitely giving the credit where it's due.
That
And a
makes
lot of times,
sense.
and what you're doing there is creating community. Is once you've done that, they'll scratch your back or just send or repost into their stories as a thank you for honoring their work or their content. And so it's another great way, organic way to gain followers.
Awesome. The other question we have, it says influencer or more personal versus business. Do you blend both or do you separate those?
Again, that's very specific to your industry and probably your comfort zone. Whatever you're willing to be consistent about is the right avenue for you. I know that's a very general response, but for Young, Wild, and Freeman, I mean, clearly she has a storefront, or not a storefront, but an actual manufacturing where she runs the whole business and has a product. But she is able to coincide with Like to Note, which is an influencer platform, because she's willing to put herself out there and show her clothing and be consistent. So I think that's the hard part of being an entrepreneur is we have so many ideas and we want to spread ourselves out. And we can spread ourselves out thinly and have kind of a diluted message because we're really all over the place. So we really have to be consistent on what we're willing to commit to, whether it's being an influencer and a business owner or vice versa.
Okay. Oh, I have another good question here. Someone said, and I know this will also vary too, just on a number of factors, but do you find there is a ideal or best time for businesses to post?
Well, again, that's industry specific, but I would say in general, 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and 7 p.m. tend to be my best analytics. And so this is something that everybody has access to if you have a business account, is to look at your analytics and see when you'll see the peaks and of when people are actually engaging with you. And it can be very relative to what you posted that day, but over a period of time, if you are tracking it, you can find it. But general rule of thumb is 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you touched on this a little bit, but post versus stories, what do you put where?
I think people get really hung up on that. The best way to look at it is a post is for growth, and Instagram stories are to maintain your audience. So I would say if you're looking at a post is there for life, right? Unless you go in there and manually delete it, versus a story is there for 24 hours and it goes away. So if you're trying to have more of a curated feed, the photography is great, it's really on brand, you want that to be kind of a lookbook of your brand, then I would definitely keep that in your post. But that does not mean that you can't use the same content in your story or share the post in your story to feed them back into your post, your page.
Okay, so is it better to use the post to send people to your stories, or the stories to send people to your posts? Do they both work?
I honestly love to do a post first and then warm them up with a post and then send them to my stories. And the reason I love stories so much, I actually do have a higher engagement in my stories versus any of my posts, is for multiple reasons. It has call to actions where you can click on a link that will drive you to either your website. It's the best way to monetize, basically, to your website, to Like to Know It, to an article. It's a great way to tag. So when you tag another business, it's easily shareable. And again, you gain exposure and you curate that community environment.
Okay, and I did share the graphic of Young, Wild, and Freeman, a story versus a post with everybody. What ratio do you use personally? I mean, should you be posting more? Should you be, to your stories, to your feed?
You really just need to know your audience. For me, if you look at my page on my regular The Impeccable Find, you'll see that I don't do as many posts. I'm very active in stories, probably 10 to 20 stories a day, which I would not recommend for businesses, but from an influencer perspective, it's very effective because a lot of them are looking to shop those pages, or those stories daily. Where if you look at my other account, Shop the Impeccable Find, which is the antique side, that is more product driven. And so I'm going to actually do more posts on that side versus the influencer side. And again, this is this living organism of Instagram. It's always evolving. As soon as you have figured out a method, they switch the algorithm up, which, sounds frustrating. And it sounds like, why do they not want us on here? But at least it keeps us on our A game, and that we're always trying to improve, and we're paying attention to our audience and trying to curate it, cultivate it, and monetize off of it.
All right. Yeah. Because I've heard that if you post daily or close to it in your stories, it'll actually help your feed get more views. Is that currently true, but not necessarily tomorrow, but was true yesterday?
It's all a numbers game. And so if you have posts that are being engaged and you have a great engagement ratio, then absolutely post every day. But if you're seeing that it's annoying people, or you are seeing that you're getting unfollowed, again, very specific. Like if you're a dentist, I would not want to see a post every day from my dentist. If I'm in something that's more visual, whether it's a clothing brand or interior design, I'm happy to see those inspiration daily. So again, it's very specific to your industry, but I would not, the max anyone should do is 3 a day, and it should be spaced out. And another good tip that I read recently is that if you are not having great engagement, take a break, take a 24-hour break, and it'll reset the algorithm. And so you can come back in with better content and try to reset that. That's something that's been super helpful that I learned recently.
Okay, Audrey, do we have any questions from the gallery?
Yes, we actually have an interesting question, and the user would like to know, does the color story matter?
Does the what story? I'm sorry?
Color story, and I'm not really sure how that plays into this.
I think what you're meaning is your feed has a tone to it, that it's on brand?
I believe so. I'm just looking at the question, but I think that's what it means.
Yes, for me, I mean, I'm very visual. If I see something that's very muted and I look at your feed and everything is too cohesive and too curated, I don't know, it loses my interest. I like to see things that actually pop out to me and look for my attention. But if I look at your feed and I see it all in this kind of sepia tone, I just get lost. But again, it has to be true to your brand. So it's really about preference and finding your niche. Everybody has a niche.
Got it.
All right. So we're kind of wrapping up on time. So let's talk about how maximizing stories. I've got some slides here, and you had you had some ways that you can maximize your stories that you were going to share.
Oh, absolutely. Stories is a great way to increase engagement. Everybody likes to be asked questions. They love to give their opinion. It sounds rude, but people like to talk about themselves or give some sort of expertise. So if you use in the stories, you can use question boxes, you can use polls, you can do you like this picture versus this picture? Do you like this pillow versus this pillow? Anything that's asking for their opinion is a great way to increase engagement, which will ultimately put your highlight, your story option to the far left, being first in for people to view. So I get tons of viewership and a lot of direct messages through my stories.
What about just tagging people?
Oh, again, that's another great way. It's so easy to tag. And so what that does when you tag that business owner, it automatically shows up as a DM to them, which they can easily reshare to it through a story. So it's the most easiest way. And I think here's another point is that when you're resharing a post, people think that it notifies the person that you shared it to your stories, but it doesn't. You have to actually tag them in the body of the story for them to actually see that you shared it.
Okay.
So,
And I'm going to share.
Go
I'm going
ahead.
to share the examples that the visuals that you shared with us that we put together. So.
Oh, I don't recognize these. These must be.
Okay, those were ours. Yeah, that was, I was looking for an example of, something that was pre-announcements, using your stories to say that something is coming soon,
Right.
or,
So the one where it says hotplate.com. So back in the day, the big push was to get to 10,000 followers. And the reason for the 10,000 followers is that you had a swipe up option, which would link you, or you could link different websites. But now that's no longer the case. It's very passe. Everybody can link. So if you see that little link where it says hotplate.com, those are all links that are clickable that will drive traffic to wherever you'd like.
Okay, and I am also going to next one. Okay, so these are examples of resharing or reposting.
So the one Megan Hotze, that's where she's actually announcing that she has a new post, and it's a great way for if followers, because there's people that don't even look at post anymore and they only go to their stories. So it's a great way for you to drive traffic back to your post, which is a clickable link. When you click onto that new post, you can actually read the caption entirely. The other one, yes, to the left from Liza Donnelly, is a reshare. So again, keep it social, do proper etiquette. So if somebody takes the time to share something about you, take the time back to say thank you, and just keep that etiquette in check, so to speak.
Okay, and here was an example of a quiz or a question and answer.
Yes. So what's great about this is that the way these answers come in is it's very easy for you to reshare all the answers. So the only thing that I like to do when I reshare the answers as a group is that I just take the time to strike through their user ID just for their privacy. But yes, this is a great way to get engagement. And also to learn about your audience. If you're don't be afraid to ask questions about your brand. If it's something like, what color are you looking to do your interiors this year? Is it pink, yellow? That way, if you're looking to drive product production, you can always engage your audience and find out exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, and this was an example of geotags, I believe.
Okay, yes. So so it's kind of a great way to be seen from a different perspective. If you don't have these accounts as followers, you'll see under the impeccable find, I have a geotag, which is Houston Design Center. So what I'm doing is piggybacking on anything that Houston Design Center as a geotag. So if somebody was to look that up, they can see all the posts that are relevant to that area. And it's a great way to get exposure with people with common interest and to, for them to see your content and your account in general.
Okay, and we're running short on time, so we're going to ask you the big question that everybody wants to know is, how do you go viral?
Oh gosh. I guess the best way to go viral is for you can either repost viral content Or another great way is if it's gone viral on TikTok, it's very likely it'll go viral on Instagram. Another great way is by using hashtags. It's again the best way to gain exposure to a larger audience, that because you do have the ability to follow hashtags in general. So if I look for Instagram for interior design and that hashtag, it'll show up in my feed regardless of me following you. And the best thing is quality over quantity. I can't stress that enough. Make sure that your content is picturesque. Instagram is a platform for photos. So with that, they're very visual. And your captions do play a big part in as well. To always remember that Instagram is storytelling.
And what about use of video? I've heard that that's something people should do.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the most important parts. Thanks for reminding me of that. Reels are the best way to go viral. I've seen amazing accounts like Liz Haven O'Neill has just skyrocketed when it comes to Instagram followers, because she's so amazing with her content on video. Videos takes a lot of effort, and it's a totally different skill set than photography. So if it's just, people love to sit there and watch the videos. So that would by far is the biggest takeaway on going viral.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. I think this has been great. I'm sure there's more questions in the chat that we will get to. Just wanted to give you guys the bonus link. I'm sorry, Audrey's sharing that right now in the chat, the bonus link to get the bonus content. I'll give you a peek at what that looks like. So you get download the checklists to see if you've done every thing possible for your stories, a list of inspiring Instagram accounts curated by Natalie, and a chart to help you decide what to publish as a post and a story. I'll give you a peek at what that looks like. And so see, we've got all these accounts and what industries they're in, post versus story checklist, and the ultimate Instagram story checklist. So, and then and also there's contact information if you'd like to get in touch with Natalie. There's some great templates, some new templates we've got for Instagram posts and Instagram stories, which of course the templates are free, links to other classes. So please do take advantage of that bonus content. We also have an offer, 30% off on a new premium or premium plus subscription if you're a first-time subscriber to PosterMyWall, or an upgrade from pay-as-you-go to premium, or from premium to premium plus. You use the promo code IGBusiness30. That is limited to 200 people, and that will expire on February 15th. So if you want to use the promo, use it quickly. We've been telling people that if you switch to monthly billing, because we have monthly now instead of quarterly, and if you're switched to the monthly billing, you can actually upgrade for just a single month, create a bunch of videos, and then go back to the, and then downgrade your plan. So it's a great way to inexpensively try out the video tools and see if they work. Also want to remind everybody that we do have, you can publish directly from PosterMyWall to your Instagram business account. So please do take care, please do take advantage of that. And one of the videos that we have the link in the bonus content is the link to how to do that. All right, so wrapping up. Any more questions, put them in the comments. We'll get back to you in a couple of hours. Please share this with anybody who would find it interesting, and come back anytime. Next week, we're going to do a design coffee break. We're going to demonstrate how to add clickable links to PDFs and web pages hosted by PosterMyWall. So now you can create coupons, send send people from your designs to your menus, to maps, to another web page, to additional information, anything you want. So that is a cool feature. So join us next Wednesday, January 26th at 1:30 Eastern time for that. That is it for now. Thank you so much, Natalie. And
thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And from Audrey and myself and Natalie, thank you. And we hope you have a really great day.